Hello, everybody. Welcome to the season 4 mid-season tier list. I am very sad because I just did the entire first 10 minutes of the tier list muted, and that's always fun. Luckily, I stream while I do these, so I got a bit donation telling me unmute yourself, my man. I didn't even look at who it was from because I don't want to. I am so embarrassed and so mad because it was the best intro I've done. Happy that I've been doing so much better at these kinds of videos, but without further ado, let's get into it. Maybe that'll break the ice more anyway, right? So this is a tier list that I've been working on for quite a little while, and I've just been trying to, roll it over my head, try to figure out exactly what, what kind of direction each god was going in. It's a big change with this mid-season shift, this fall split starting up. All new items, or not all new items, but many new items being introduced. Almost every item being tweaked at least a little bit. Gods being tweaked, almost every god being tweaked at least a little bit. And the removal of Fatalis for hunters being such a big thing has changed a lot, and it also hasn't. You'll notice immediately that some of the top ADCs are not as low as you would think, right? So you still see AMC in the top here. This is, of course, my opinion. This whole list is entirely, obviously it's opinion, right? I can't dictate anything, and it's all subject to change because this is just the first kind of take on what I think the meta is like right now, right? And I waited on this as long as I could to try to, really feel it out. I didn't want to just put it out early on because, I don't want to put it out in the first few days, just, estimating and guessing at what certain gods would end up in. I wanted to get some, actual experience first so that I don't just, put it out for the views and then have to change it over time. I want to give you guys at least what I think is a solid basis. It's still going to be changed quite a bit, I'm sure, and that's a good thing though, because it means that people are working on other gods and both proving me wrong and proving a lot of just the meta wrong in general of what gods we're seeing the most. Maybe could be changed and always can be. So yeah, let's get into it. The ADCs, first of all, I think needs to be the biggest highlight because Fatalis' removal was so impactful and not so impactful at the same time. Like I said, you got to focus on both. Gods like AMC, Anhur, Ullr, Hou all have, and even Scotty, all have access to so much CC in their kits innately that without Fatalis, first of all, they still have Frostbound, which was nerfed for ADCs, but is still strong. And I think it's a little too strong. I would love to see it become a melee-only item. But, maybe eventually, maybe next season. But, yeah, so they have a lot of CC innately that they can just, cover ground with. Stun for Ullr, stun for Anhur, knockback, knock up, CC immunity. This guy, AMC, of course, can speed himself up so much. Got a very long range slow in his honey that lasts for a very long time. Cripple. Hou's got the mark, long range stuns, ultimate for a slow, jump, knock up, the whole thing. All of them have access to tools that make it so that Fatalis isn't the only thing keeping them up there. They're not reliant entirely on their auto attacks. So they kind of, not skirt by, but still flourish in Duel because of those tools. They are just very strong gods, and I don't see that ever changing. They're incredibly strong, unless there's huge nerfs specifically to those gods, like target nerfs, which won't happen, I don't think, because none of them are the top performers in Conquest, though Hou is, and I don't know why. I feel like he should be getting more nerfs, but whatever. I don't like Hou, man. I do and I don't. It's he's fun, but I feel like he's a little overtuned. But anyway, yeah, you'll notice I have Hebo up here. From left to right, none of this is exact. You've got the longer the tier list goes on, or the longer the section goes on, the longer the tier goes on. You got Anhur versus Medusa. I think Anhur crushes Medusa in terms of overall matchups, right? So that kind of one, you can tell it. Chang'e is a lot better than Loki. But when you compare Hebo to Cronus and Hebo to Kali, that's a lot closer in my opinion. You got just things like that. I don't think it's really possible. There's so many gods. It's very, very difficult to just say this one is objectively better than the other one when they're very close in skill. There's so many different matchups. But yeah, so that's all up to interpretation. But yeah, don't follow those too closely. Like if you want to fight me over, say, Kamazat's being over Olang Shen. It's actually something I should highlight as well. But strap in, by the way, because this is definitely going to be a long one, and I apologize for that. If you're looking for a quick synopsis, of course, you can always just look at the tier list yourself. It's going to be in the link below. So, you know, just skip the whole video. Why don't you? But yeah, if you want to hear more in-depth analysis on why I think some of these changes are here, of course, stick around. We got Hebo being just like the top performer in my opinion because he has so little losing matchups, such an intense god, so strong in every regard. That carpet, the water carpet, is just what pushes him over the top. He's already got so many strong killing moves, and just, you know, everybody says Hebo has, you know, like, what is it? They say he's got 3 ultimates. I say he's got 4, even 5 in the water carpet, man, because that shit is bull. He gets a speed boost, he's immune to slows, and he slows the enemy. Like, it's so loaded. It's one of the most bloated moves in the game, I feel like. And to think that it's on such a short cooldown too is ridiculous. But yeah, anyway, without Fatalis in the game, it's much harder to combat Hebo. I don't think any of the ADCs actually beat him anymore. I can't objectively say that any of them straight up beat him. Maybe I think Uller gave him the hardest time out of anyone before, and maybe he still can. But yeah, it'd be incredibly difficult for any of them to really keep up with his pace now. And then we got Cronus, Rise of Cronus. I'm not going to go by every single god, by the way, just the highlight gods. Cronus, the boy, has come back full force. It's just such an insane god. What happened was Cronus got nerfed to a point where he didn't have his Fatalis anymore on his 2, and they gave him, you know, multiple buffs along the way to try to get him back into the meta. And the speed boost on his 2 is crazy. He just goes so fast now. It's ridiculous. Like, you really can't catch him without like a sprint, and even then, sometimes you can. He has gotten stronger and stronger. He got a new passive that doesn't really play too much into duel because it goes, the longer the match goes on, it's meant for conquest, the more of a hyper carry he becomes because he'll get more power innately. I don't remember what the timer goes up to, but it's like probably like something like 40 minutes at max. And like, you know, duel games going that late are pretty insane. General duel game length is like 25, so you're not going to see too much of the passive there. Maybe even 20 is general, like, but you know, more than anything, him just having access to like Bancrofts early, mitigating his weak early game and allowing him to get to his strong suit, which is just the boxing phase, and even the burst from just the Bancrofts, giving him the lifesteal as well. That item alone has brought Cronus so far. And then, like I said, those little buffs that have helped him along the way. And now the fact that the ADCs don't have Fatalis either, they can't box with him as well. He's got good itemization right now. Very, very strong god. Definitely a must ban. For anyone that actually knows how to play Cronus, he's got so many tools. And for anybody that's, you know, seen the terror of Cronus before he became a little bit lackluster again after his Fatalis removal, which I'm sure a lot of you, of course, remember, he's pretty much that again. I think he's definitely that again, but some people still definitely debate it. Who else? We got, for big changes, Bakusura. I think Bakusura is now SS because once again, the hunters don't have Fatalis. That is such a big change for everyone in Impacts. It's just this big, you know, central change that changes the individual performance of every other god, because, you know, all of the gods in tier lists have to stack up against the top gods and say, well, how does he perform against, you know, X and Y? And well, Bakusura now performs even better against gods like Anhur, Uller, Hou-Yi, AMC. He can't just be kited around as easily anymore, and he already had very close matchups with a lot of them, some winning, some slightly losing, and some that you can just argue even. And now I think it just kind of pushes him over the top. He's got his own Fatalis for melee, and they don't have one against him. They have the slow in their Frostbounds, but once you get to, it's a while to get to the Frostbound. Like, you have to sacrifice a lot of attack speed, first of all. It's not like Fatalis you can just build into that early without sacrificing that much. And it is also susceptible to just being slow immuned by his ultimate. So you got that. And then he can just rush you down again. And then if he's got Fatalis while you're slowing him, you know, he's still on you anyway. Bakusura, huge threat. Huge. Freya as well now. Freya, a lot of people were arguing, wasn't that great after the changes, and I didn't know why, because her early game really wasn't as strong. I still think she was incredible, but now she could arguably be the best in the game. She's definitely up there in like the top 5 range because she got all of her itemization got tweaked and buffed in her favor. And then she got buffed in her favor. She got her 2, does more damage. She got the demonic grip is now more tailored to her, giving more attack speed, less power, which she doesn't actually need that much of, and a price reduction. So yeah. And then the ring now, the Fatalis kind of ring that the mages have, also got buffed for her. So yeah, she's got a lot of things going her way. Camazot's on the rise right now. This god is crazy strong. A lot of people think he falls off in the late, but if you see a good Camazot, they'll prove you wrong. If you're able to keep poking out with the 1 and the 2 from range, which is hard to do, he's relatively difficult god, I'd say, to consistently perform on. He will mess you up, and he also benefits from hunters not being able to just kite him out now. His hardest thing, in my opinion, is like the warriors, though. I think that some of the warriors can really give him a little bit of trouble. You see gods like Medusa and Cronus fall off a little bit because I feel like, relied on Fatalis a lot, especially Medusa, as many of you know. Frostbound Fatalis on Medusa is what made her one of the strongest ADCs for a while, and now it's quite a drop-off because I feel she really relied on it. Her ult's not that strong otherwise. It's CC immunity, but it's kind of stagnant CC immunity. And it's, definitely, I could be wrong about this one, but I do feel it's definitely a drop-off. She's certainly not SS anymore. Hou Yi doesn't fall off that much because of Fatalis, because he's Hou Yi. He's got access to so many different tools, so much burst and raw auto attack potential anyway. And then, throughout, you can just browse through the changes. Bancroft still being very strong, makes gods like Anubis, Hades still very good. Vulcan is a lot stronger right now, in my opinion. He is it's very possible for him to go toe-to-toe with certain ADCs now, because he's actually got more boxing potential, because they can't just rush him down with the Fatalis anymore. Usually the thing about Vulcan was he's very strong there early, but once they get Fatalis, he's done. And of course, without that being an issue, that's always good. This is a good change for Duel. I know it doesn't seem like that much has changed in the top, but maybe if we get 8 bans, shout outs to Ajax. We're in talks right now. He says he's going to pitch it to the other guys. Hopefully it goes through. And that's 4 bans each, then it'll be a little bit more bearable, because this SS is overwhelming. There's a lot of these gods, and they all need to be banned. And if you don't ban them out, you're in for a really rough game, right? And then even if you do, you're up against either Anhur or Uller in most situations, and that is just also extremely overwhelming. So yeah, not a fun time for that. Apollo, Jingwei, both gods that I feel got hit extremely hard by the Fatalis removal. Apollo's been on the downfall for a while, just kind of plummeting more and more, losing to so many individual matchups, losing to all of these characters, in my opinion, without a doubt. And then a lot of these guys as well. I think he'll have interesting matchups against like Hades.
Number 8
thank
bands.
you so much. Why is that happening? I turned off the browser thing so that it wouldn't do that. Sorry for that. Thank you so much. I'll give it to you in just a second. Why is that? Uh-oh. It's all going to hell now. But yeah, so this man, Apollo, definitely falls off quite a bit. Jingwei as well. He just doesn't have the same kind of boxing potential that he had, where he's able to weave in and out with his Fatalis and rely on that. He's still very good against the melees, though. So, even though he's down here, there's some gods up here that he can fight better. I just think he can't fight up against a lot of the warriors as well as he used to be able to. A lot of his gameplay was based on that, kiting potential and walking backward while being able to, bang, bang. So being able to do that kind of backpedal auto strategy and stuff with Fatalis was very central to his gameplay. Jingwei kind of just not, doesn't have the strongest tools other than her passive in Duel to make her one of the better boxing gods. So once you get rid of Fatalis, and she doesn't have it in her 3 anymore, now she's kind of in trouble. Daji is insane. I don't care what anybody says. She's so good. I think that she could deserve to be even higher than this. But I think she's definitely in the S tier. I could be wrong. Maybe S-. We'll see. Prove me wrong. but she's got access to CC immunity like in an instant. She forces you to go beads in certain circumstances if you don't have access to CC immunity, and even if you do, she can force you to CC immune and then go with the ultimate. And you know, then if you don't have a secondary beads with that, you're just done. So yeah, she's got good wave clear. She's got crazy lockdown potential. You have to be very smart with her as well. She's not an easy god to play because her initiation is her escape, right? And you know, that's very deadly. And of course, if you're in the thick of a fight and you don't have a way out with your teleport because there's no, you know, a minion to get you out of there, you know, that's always a threat in a 1v1 scenario because there's not as many you know, allied players around or jungle buffs around even. So yeah, definitely this is a higher skill cap god, but she's one that I think is very rewarding. Who else has changed? Poseidon Bastet, I feel kind of... Oh, it's actually weird. I just changed Poseidon. He's supposed to be here. Hold on. That's weird. I guess I didn't save it. All right. So Poseidon kind of rises into that S tier, in my opinion, once again because of the boxing potential for him being able to go up against the hunters better, especially with the buffed Fatalis effect for him, you know, on that new item. What is it called? Hastened Ring? Yeah, I got it. Bastet could have rose higher, but then Sprint was introduced. Sprint is a big deal for like everyone right now because it's such a strong relic. It counters a lot, and it specifically, you know, counters a lot of what Bastet has to offer. So I think she kind of stays about the same with that sprint change. Then she can also box better into ADCs and stuff, or not box better, but you know, not have them, you know, run rampant and not be able to, you know, catch them or, you know, take too much poke before she can commit. Chiron got a big buff, but I don't feel it does enough for him because he's Chiron. At the end of the day, his boxing potential is not as strong as almost any of the other ADCs above him, you know, or it isn't as strong as any of the ADCs above him. So even though he's got more burst to offer on the waves and he can kind of command that early a little bit better, his ult is very poor for team fights, or, you know, for 1v1 fights. The only thing it can do well is like kill secure, which it does very well, but it's not, you know, it's very situational. Doesn't help him in the neutral when it's like him versus an on her. He can't just pull out his ult or he's just gonna, you know, get bopped because he's, you know, he plants himself. He doesn't deal that much damage, especially if you can like jump around it or, you know, just juke it. And even if you do hit all the shots, if they're doing a lot to you in the same amount of time, then it's just not really worth. So yeah, I think Chiron, even with that change, he feels better for sure, but I don't think it changes much for him. And let's see. Yeah, other than that, changes across the board. You'll just be able to see things. Jean Kui, I think, fell because of the sprint change as well. A lot of what he relied on was having that instant death slow that he has, the culmination of all the slows with Gem of ISO. That was the worst to deal with, and it was so frustrating. And now if you just pop sprint, you're out of there. Of course, sprint has a long cooldown, so you got to play around it, but it's still a good option against him. He's got some good things going for him, though. Horrific Emblem, I think, is actually very strong for him, especially against the ADCs, or like the Freya Cronus, anything like that. Auto attack based assassins and such. It's good against everybody, man. It's good against everybody. That item is broken, but yeah, it's a kind of item that changes a lot of individual matchups. But yeah, for me, I feel like he's definitely fallen quite a little bit lower right now. Just squandering a little bit, but yeah. Thoth, kind of on the rise. This god's very good. He's got a lot of potential. He really struggles against the top tier gods is all. Other than that, he's got a really good chance against even a lot of like the S- gods. I think they objectively beat him in most ways. Oh shit, I also forgot to cover Nuwa. Probably looking at Nuwa like, how the hell is she up here? Her change with her minions literally makes her like a different god. I had her in A tier, I think, before. Maybe even A-. No, I think I had her in A. And it just blew my mind how much this god has changed with what looks like such a small change. Her 2 can now, you can now send it out like target things specifically, And it changes so much for her because they are insanely quick. They'll go right to the target that you've selected, and they also act as just like complete bodyguards around her. If you go anywhere near her, they instantly go to you. And then she's got an increase in damage on the shiny metal. I think on the shiny metal explosion. So she just blows you up. Like, it's insane. Fight against a good Nuwa. You'll see what I mean. It's absolutely crazy. She loses to a lot of these, you know, gods above her because they can kind of just negate her. But when when you're going up against her with any of the others and even gods within S-, you definitely see a lot more power from her. She could even be higher, honestly, because the minions give her such crazy 1v1 potential, and it's so hard to just beat them down. They have a lot of health, and without Fatalis on the hunters too, they can't just distance themselves from them and, you know, lifesteal away. That was usually the problem. And yeah, like gods like Neith unfortunately suffer a little bit because of no Fatalis. She's already got a weak boxing game as the game goes on. No Fatalis to use as a crutch, especially Blanque, I feel, suffers from that more than anyone, becomes the lowest tiered ADC in my opinion, as he is just, you know, really fallen to the wayside. Izanami, a very similar story. She was up high before, higher in S tier, and that removal of Fatalis hurts her a lot. So, you know, that's good things. That's real good. For the people that really wanted to see ADCs falling, that's, you know, it's great to see that less of them are up at the top. The problem is there's still a lot here, and it's, you know, it's still a very overwhelming presence. Hopefully we can do more and more to change that. But it's overall a very good change throughout. Mercury's got some room to change. Maybe if his new, Atlantis bow works out well for him. I can't tell. Right now, I still have very little faith in the Mercury. Until they give him Golden Bow back, I'm not even, like, interested, because his clear is just so poor, and, you know, his boxing potential can't make up for the fact that he's going to automatically be so far behind and so easily just, like, poked out in so many engagements. But yeah, that's definitely just my take on it. Ymir, the rise of Ymir, I'm hoping I put him up a little bit more this time because I think he can box a little bit better with gods not just abusing Fatalis against him. That's a big change for him, and him being able to go horrific is really good. A lot of these assassins and guardians using early horrific emblems will be able to secure a lot of strong early attacks now, and that's you know, that's a big bonus. So yeah, definitely let me know your opinions on the list. Let me know what you think about it, what you liked, what you didn't, and know that this is going to be regularly updated. Once again, I'm NShadow. I stream regularly on twitch.tv/NShadow, so if you're on Twitch, definitely give me a follow there. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you enjoyed. I upload videos daily, of course, for Duel, where I try to be more analytical within those matches. I'm doing an A to Z series right now where I play every god and having a lot of fun with that. Some heartbreak, but some fun as well. And yeah, I hope you guys are enjoying the new split as much as I am, and you know, I hope we keep Duel going strong. Also, hashtag one more ban. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time.